Morning, students. Last time we were talking about the some of the examples in which we can reduce the friction by using the lubricants. है ना? There are several ways to reduce the friction. As it was, the first was the using lubricants. Lubricants means as the you can use the oil and the grease etc you know the and talcum powder. These are the types of lubricants है ना. And next which we can use, that is the ball bearings है ना. These structures you can see, this is called ball bearing है ना. Ball bearing also can be used here. Now see, these are the balls which are fitted inside this rim. These are called the ball bearing. And next maybe the polishing of the surface. Then these are the three ways by which we can reduce the friction. Okay. Now once again revise it. How many types of the frictions are there? Then the friction are of three type. You know? The first is called static friction. Static friction. Static friction is the friction when the object is stationary, when it is at the in the stationary form, कहीं पे भी वो रुका हुआ है तो at that time when we are trying to move it, तो that time which friction is acting, that is called static friction. जब चीज़ रुकी हुई होती है तो उस समय friction की वैल्यू सबसे ज़्यादा होती है, because in this time the interlocking between the surfaces is too much है ना. तो to overcome these interlocking we have to apply more force than the static friction have the highest value. And the second friction is called the rolling friction, sorry, sliding friction. When the object starts sliding, you know, after this position, when it starts we are applying the force and it starts moving, then at that time the value of the friction decreases. It's the sliding friction. Then the value of the friction decreases, it is less than the static one. Starting में उसको स्लाइड करना स्टार्ट करना टफ पड़ता है, लेकिन बाद में जब वो स्लाइड होना शुरू हो जाता है तो easily we can slide it है ना. At that time the value of the friction decreases. Then it means static is highest, then the second one sliding friction, and the third one is called rolling friction. Rolling friction is, sorry, now rolling friction, these are the least value है ना. When the object is moving over the wheels, then the friction is called rolling friction, because the wheel rolls and उसी rolling के साथ में ये भी आगे बढ़ता है. Then this friction is called rolling friction. The friction which is acting at this time, this is called the rolling friction. The value of the rolling friction is least. It means if we will arrange it, then the static is more than sliding, then more than last is rolling friction. So least values of rolling friction and the most values of static friction. Okay, now the question: can we reduce friction to zero by polishing the surface or using large amount of the lubricant, or doing the lubrication? Can it reduce to be zero? No, it cannot be reduced to be zero है ना. We can reduce the amount but zero, it will not be reduced to the zero ये कभी भी नहीं होगा, right? Next is friction can never be entirely eliminated. Yes, हाँ यही मैं भी कह रही थी है ना. No surface is perfectly smooth. Some irregularities are will always be there in the surfaces. Either you apply a lot of lubricant, then also some irregularity will produce friction. Okay, then I was telling about you reducing friction. Then first was the lubricant and second is the wheels to reduce the friction. You must have seen attached and the other pieces of the luggage fitted with the rollers. Even a child can pull such pieces of the luggages. Why is it so? Let's find out. Now, see in this picture, now, uh, the weight of the luggage is too much, but even this boy can easily pull it, or the it can carry it. Now see one of the activity. In this activity, what we will do, we will take three pieces of three pencils. These pencils should not be the hexagonal type. They should be rounded. Then three pencils are there. Then put the this book over it. Now push it from one side. What will happen? This book will easily move ahead over these pencils. है ना? In this case, the friction which is applying here, it is the rolling friction, and due to this rolling friction, this book can move easily. And in the another case, if this book is directly on the table, अगर सीधे टेबल पे रखी होती, then that case you have to apply more force. But जब ये roller pencils पे रखी हुई है, then you have to apply less force, because rolling friction help in the movement and the reduce the friction, right? Okay. When one body rolls over the another surface, rolls over the, है ना, जब ये rolling की process चल रही है, then the resistance of this motion is called the rolling friction, and rolling friction reduce always is less, and it is always easier to roll them to slide a body over the another. That is the reason it is convenient to pull the luggage fitted with the rollers. Can you now understand why the wheel is said to be one of the greatest invention for the mankind? Yes, because the transport became very easy with the help of these wheels, you know. And next is, since the rolling friction is smaller than the sliding friction, sliding is replaced in most machines by rolling, by use of the ball bearing. In case of the ball bearing, two surfaces which are moving on each other, उनके बीच में छोटी छोटी सी balls fit कर दी जाती है ना? These balls are called ball bearing, and now these both surface which will move over each other, they have to roll, है ना? जब ये मूव कर रही होंगी, जब बाहर वाली सरफेस अंदर पे मूव कर रही है, then what will happen, they will this movement will takes place over these wheels, small balls. ये जो balls हैं, ये wheel की तरह काम कर रही है, इन ball के ऊपर movement होगा, then obviously it will be the rolling movement, है ना? Rolling friction will be there, and what will happen, the movement will become easy, है ना? उनके बीच में कोई friction की value बहुत reduce हो जाएगी, है ना? Okay, then sliding friction replaced in most machines by the rolling, by the use of ball bearing. Common examples are the use of the ball bearing between the hubs and the axle of the ceiling fan. Yes, and the bicycle. And the bicycle also, in the axle, you can see small balls which are called ball bearing, right? You can see in this picture also. Okay. Now next is the fluid friction. The friction which is acting in the movement during the movement takes place in water as well as air. This friction is called the fluid friction, right? Okay. You know that the air is very light and thin. Yes, it exerts frictional force on object moving through it. Similarly, water and the other liquid also exert the force of friction when the object moves through them. And in science, the common name of the gas and liquid is called fluid, right? And this is also called the drag. Frictional force in the fluid is also called drag, right? This. And the frictional force on an object is in a fluid depends on the speed with respect to fluid. The frictional force also depend on the shape of the object and nature of the body. It is obvious that when the object moves through the fluid, they have to overcome some of the friction acting on them. In this process, they lose energy. Efforts are therefore to make made to minimize the friction. So the object are given a special shape that is called the streamlined shape. This shape is, you can see, the edges or the ends are thick and the middle one is the broader, है ना? This reduce the friction of the air as well as water. If body is moving in the air, then also this shape help, because it will easily the air will move from both the side of the body, and it will reduce the friction of the air. And same in the fishes also, you can see in the air, if we are talking, then this shape is found in the birds. You know, birds always have this type of shape. And in the liquid also, fishes, वाटर में अगर हम बात करें तो fishes, they all have the streamlined body. Their body must have evolved to shape the which would make them uh, lose less energy in overcoming the friction, right? Okay, then do you find any similarity in the shape of the aeroplane and birds? Obviously, this is the aeroplane, this is the bird, both have the streamlined body. And the last ants are the thin, and the broader, the middle body is broader. Same in case of the bird also. You know? Okay, then this was about the friction. You know? Now the last question is that if it asks to you why the streamlined body, yeah, why the body of the object, or we can say bird, which are flying in the air, and the fish which live in the water, why they have the streamlined body? Then simple answer is that streamlined body reduce the friction of the uh, air or water. It help in reducing the friction. है ना? This body minimize the friction, drag or drag, right? Okay, now this chapter is finished. If you have any query, any question, you can write in the comment box, or you can simply uh, give me your questions on WhatsApp. Okay, thanks for watching me.